Yay Networks.
13 has been my lucky number for a while. Like, it's always a sign of good things to come for me.
This is 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast, breaking down every song, every Easter egg, every era, and every theory. Hosted by the biggest Swifties, Nick Adams, Anna Casillejos, Amy Nichols, and Lacey Gee.
Welcome to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. I'm Lacey Gee.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Amy.
And we are continuing in our Tortured Poets Department venture.
I know.
We are on song number 3, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys.
This was a grower for me, I must admit. I think it, I like it, I like the rhythm of it, the beat of it, but I think it took me a while to really kind of appreciate it.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with just how it starts.
Yes.
And sometimes when I listen to it, I kind of wish that it was like track 1. Could you imagine if the opening to this entire album was, oh, here we go again?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
that would be iconic.
I agree.
This song was also a grower for me. It got more popular for me seeing people perform it on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
And kind of hearing the lyrics isolated in little small bits. But I would like to brag. This is the first song that I got on my own before finding out about the breakdown, before doing all my research for it. I mean, brag alert. I'm so smart. Look at the smarty pants on me. But this song is a little bit self-explanatory.
A little more straightforward than the previous two.
Than the joke that was Tortured Poets Department that was over my head.
I think that was common though. We've been getting so much lovely, amazing feedback from our listeners, and a lot of people were saying that it was the same. Like they felt better knowing that we also didn't understand some of these songs right away, especially Fortnite, because Fortnite is just so layered, especially when you add in the music video, and that our episode helped a lot. There was somebody that posted a screenshot of when one of us said, like, honestly, I didn't understand this until yesterday or something. And they posted it being like, I feel so seen right now. So I think like as we take on these songs, like track by track, lyric by lyric, I think we're all together kind of figuring it out and learning new things. Like I learn new things from you guys every single episode, you know, like we're all finding different ways to look at these lyrics and stuff. And same with our listeners when they message us with things that we missed and, oh, I thought it was this or whatever. So I don't know. I think that's part of what makes this whole album really great.
Yeah.
Pause. Amy, I just said that I was all smarty pants, but Dr. Szabo said that she's learning from us. We are smarty pants. Thank you, Amy. She's learning from us.
I feel it.
I think we're all doctors.
And Anna broke down beautifully the epilogue, prologue, and the tie-in with Aristotle, which you've been getting a lot of love for that too. And that also was over my head. I briefly looked at the prologue and epilogue, but I didn't take it in and didn't understand it until you broke it down. And then throwing in Aristotle on that, it's like, man, Taylor really is making us smarter.
I like the sound of doctor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, she threw 31 songs at us.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take on at once.
It was a little overwhelming. It still is, but that's why I am kind of glad that we took a little bit of time before doing our deep dive into the album, just so that we could also have some time to learn it before we immediately start, breaking it down. I think that was a really good move on our part.
Okay, so question, and I'm just throwing this out there. I've seen a lot of listeners, a lot of lobsters ask if we're going to do our initial rankings of this album. Well, I know that we did. We did our initial rankings the weekend after it came out. But I'm pretty sure I know mine would have changed because I was still just into the first anthology. I hadn't dove much into the part 2. And now I have new favorites that are changing out every day. Do you think we're going to do an initial ranking again, an initial ranking part 2 at some point, taking a brief break and just saying at this point? Or is it unfair because we started breaking down songs and now we're more familiar with them and that could change that's kind of the whole point of the initial rankings and then the after rankings is how we've changed after learning the album.
I think it'd be cool if we do another ranking in between, like before we start the anthology.
Oh, like before the Black Dog, like midway.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool that our initial rankings are true initial rankings. Like that is like the fact that we did that, you know, after only having the album for a weekend, that is like an actual initial rankings. So to compare that after we break down the entire album or even halfway, I think that kind of makes it more true to our taste in a way. I for sure I would have to go back and look at what I said. Like I don't even know top of mind what I said, but I know for a fact it changed. You know, because even now, like I'm still like, oh, my favorite today is, you know, whatever, and I'm still on my Tortured Poets. Like I'm still listening to just the album. I haven't gone back to listen to. I mean, every now and then when we're thinking of our surprise songs and stuff, I'll listen to my complete discography playlist, but. On my drive to work and on my drive home, I just put Tortured Poets on shuffle. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you guys. When I was traveling to Ireland, it was an 8-hour flight. And I usually when I fly, I just put my Taylor Swift discography playlist on shuffle because that's 13 hours long and I'm usually covered. And so I didn't even really think about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just throw that on shuffle while I travel. I was going to like read, whatever. So I listened to the Tortured Poets front to back for the first 2 hours of the flight. And then I was like, okay, let me switch over to like the other, all of her rest of her discography. It hadn't downloaded like on my phone for some reason. And I was already flying. So I couldn't get the song. So the only music that I had on this 8-hour flight was the Tortured Poets department. So that's all I listened to. Was the Tortured Poets department.
This is Anna's second flight with the Tortured Poets department.
But this one was 8 hours. Granted, I slept for like half of it, but in my headphones, all I was listening to subconsciously was the Tortured Poets
No
department.
wonder she's an expert.
Because I eat, sleep, breathe the Tortured Poets.
Lots of time with the album. I flip back and forth. I do check out the complete discography, which for some reason is not on Reputation. So whenever those songs do come up, I'm like, man, it's been a minute since I've heard this, and it's not top of mind anymore. But what does constantly come up now is the voice memo for I Know Places.
Really?
That is always like number 2, 3, 4 something on that playlist. And I'm
funny.
like, yeah. And then I feel like Taylor and Anna both are talking to me. It's a wonderful surprise.
Very cute.
So My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. Taylor released some voice memos. Speaking of, I didn't even do that on purpose.
Dr. G over here.
Yeah. Yeah. But she did release some voice memos on certain songs, and we happened to get one for My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. So here's what Taylor Swift herself had to say about this song.
My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys is a song I wrote alone, and it's a metaphor of, you know, from the perspective of a child's toy, being somebody's favorite toy until they break you and then don't want to play with you anymore, which is, you know, how a lot of us are in relationships where we are so valued by a person in the beginning and then all of a sudden they break us or they, you know, devalue us in their mind and we're still clinging on to, no, you should have seen them the first time they saw me, that they'll come back to that. They'll get back to that. So it's kind of like a song about denial, really, so that you can live in this world where there's still hope for a toxic, broken relationship.
Man, it makes me so sad, though, because that is how a lot of people think in relationships. Like, oh, yeah, no, but you should have seen him when he first, like, got me when we first started, you know, dating. You like, oh, no, I swear it used to be good. It kind of reminds me of the lyric in Better Man. And I see the permanent damage you did to me. Never again. I just wish I could forget when it was magic. Kind of like the same sentiment.
Yeah.
In Better Man, it's more of on the other side of it. It's not like so much of the denial, but I guess more so the acceptance because like I can see the damage. Where My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys is that denial stage, like she said. But it's still that same sentiment. And I think about like, I don't know, hearing her sing the song and these lyrics, and I always think of like, if a friend were to say that to me, like I would just be so furious at the person that's making her feel that way.
Absolutely.
You know, like you're not this shiny object that breaks and then you get swept under the rug. Like you're so much more valuable than that. But that is truly how a lot of people think in these toxic, broken relationships, or just you know, whatever it be, maybe a long-term relationship where people fall out of love, whatever it is. But but he's only doing it because he loves me. Like, oh my gosh, that hurts.
It's awful.
Because when the ending is so bad and certain people come into your life and only know the ending of something, then it's like, well, why were y'all ever together? Well, it wasn't always like that. It was, at one point, it was good. And then you just tolerate it for so long and no, we'll get back there and then call it or don't. But yeah, I totally agree. So starting off, oh, here we go again.
Epic intro.
Absolutely.
Oh, here we go again.
The
which,
voices in his head.
which completely echoes How Did It End? Come one, come all, it's happening again. Let's all gather round and watch Taylor Swift's love life just crumble. Here we go again.
That also could have been an epic intro to the entire album. How Did It End? I think about that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, here we go again. The voices in his head called the rain to end our days of wild. So I feel like that could just be either referring to the relationship itself being on and off. It could also be referring to depression, you know, like the rain being the depression and the days of wild being like the good times, but the voices in his head and the depression that is ending these good days.
Days of Wild is also a Prince song that I'm not familiar with. I did see someone talking about it on TikTok, and to have that come right after Called the Rain, there's some tie-in to Purple Rain as well. And someone said that Maddie Healy, one of the muses for this album, is a big Prince fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that intentional? Is it not? I'm not familiar with Prince enough to say that. But then the next line, the sickest army doll purchased at the mall. There's so much in just those two lines. Sickest army doll, people are saying could be a reference to G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe's army doll that people think of, the little plastic ones. Sick could be a reference to Blue, which is something that she's referenced often.
I kind of thought also of how she refers to herself as a soldier in You're Losing Me, you know, fighting in only your army, front lines, don't you ignore me. And now I'm this like sick army doll. And then of course you undeniably can't think of like the marching and on the tour choreography of Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. It's all kind of the same imagery, if you will.
Yeah, and last year it was Barbie everything.
Yeah.
Barbie everything. And so she was writing this album around that time. So I'm wondering if this is like the anti-Barbie.
Oh.
The G.I. Joe is, I mean, anti-hero, anti-Barbie, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because then you have this Barbie that's supposed to be this like perfect woman.
Yeah.
Right? And then she's describing herself as a broken toy. That's a very good point about just like context.
Media-Consumer 101 on Reddit said, the way she describes herself is so subtly negative. From the mall, cheap, plastic, fake.
Common.
Yeah, like saying, I don't love myself and I know it seems like he doesn't love me either, but I swear he used to see me differently. Ignoring the fact that it shouldn't matter how he used to see her and ignoring the underlying issue that she needs to see herself, or no, that she sees herself as a cheap toy and is desperately trying to defend why she is still with a man who makes her miserable. Oh.
This is so this song is one of those upbeat, catchy, really sad songs. And you know what also changed this song for me was when she performed it as an acoustic song. I think it was one of the first songs from Tortured Poets that she performed as a surprise song. And hearing the crowd also echo back the song, it sounded so pretty and it sounded so good, but it was also simultaneously heartbreaking.
Yeah, the next line's rivulets descend my plastic smile.
Who had to Google the word rivulets?
Me. Me.
Who wants to go to the Four Seasons Orlando? Me. A rivulet is simply a small stream that, in this context, is a metaphor for tears. Therefore, Taylor is implying the deterioration of her relationship as has taken a toll to the point where she can no longer hide her inner misery with toy-like smiles.
Yeah.
Jax Annie on Reddit said that they've seen rivulets being interpreted as tears, but they could have swore that's a word used to describe curly hair.
Oh.
It made me think of porcelain dolls with blonde curls, which seems fitting in this context. Someone else commented, I've never heard rivulet used in context of hair. Were you thinking ringlet? So someone trying to mansplain. And then I looked it up. No, rivulet, I can't even say that word as I'm mansplaining this word. Rivulets is like a 1940s perfect curled hairstyle.
Interesting.
Think of like the 1940s when women are wearing scarves around their head and the big sunglasses because they're riding in cars with their tops down.
It's also paired with plastic, which is, you know, the fakeness, the fake appearance of being happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you should have seen him when he first got me.
Denial, denial, denial.
My boy only breaks his favorite toys. This isn't the first time that Taylor Swift has referred to love with toys. She, Cruel Summer, Better Than Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 times that she mentioned shiny, shiny toys and stuff.
It's also an insult. Like, he's a boy. He's a man-child.
Oh, yeah.
While she's the queen, a little bit more mature.
Yes, that's so true.
Ooh, I never put that together.
That is so true. Yeah, I'm queen of sandcastles he destroys. That line makes me think, I wonder if she had the idea for that line first and then kind of wrote the song around it. Because, like, yeah, I'm queen of the castle, right? And Taylor loves this imagery of castles and magic and enchanted and things like that. Be like, you know, I'm queen of the castle, but being queen of a sand castle, something that is so fragile, so easily destroyed and stepped on, you know, be like, to say I'm queen of sandcastles, like, I don't think we appreciate that lyric enough for
No,
just
we don't.
how incredible that is. And then I don't know why, like, I wonder if that was one of those notes lyrics that she had or something, you know, but it also kind of reminds me of, you know, like when you're kids and there's a boy picking on you and people tell you that it's because he likes you. That's the kind of like vibe that I get. Yeah, like, oh, he's only picking on you because he has a crush on you. Like, boys are only like mean to you because they like you. First of all, we should not be teaching that. Like, that's not good. But that's kind of like the same vibe that I'm getting just from the song in general, but specifically this part.
Yeah.
And referring to him, the boy of this song, as a boy, just reminds me of little boys that are angry and pitching fits and kicking over the sandcastle. So he's literally destroying it. Because it fit too right. Puzzle pieces in the dead of night, things that haunt her. Should have known it was a matter of time.
Yeah. Do you remember the Tortured Poets installation?
Yes, the puzzle pieces in the jar.
Yeah, there was puzzle pieces in jars at it was in LA, right? I think it was the installation, the pop-up thing that was just filled with Easter eggs before we got the album, so we like really didn't know. But I think it's kind of funny to know that those puzzle pieces refer to this, or most likely refer to this line, puzzle pieces in the dead of night. But at the time, we were like full-blown serial killer, Zodiac killer, puzzle pieces stringed together. Like, we were off, but like in a hilarious way. And I just think that was really funny.
She keeps us on our toes for sure.
Also, with So It Goes, she talks about see you in the dark and all the pieces fall right into place, which I don't necessarily think this song is about Joe, but she just loves imagery so much. So I think she can reuse it, meaning maybe a different relationship or another instance.
I'm seeing multiple theories about why it's many muses and not just one. Should have known it was a matter of time. Oh, 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 oh. My boy only breaks his favorite toys. There was a litany of reasons why we could have played for keeps this time. I know I'm just repeating myself.
So who had to look up the definition of litany? Me. Me. Litany, a tedious recital, a repetitive series.
Thank
Essentially
you,
just
Taylor.
repeating
Taylor,
herself.
for teaching us.
That's 2 words in one song. And we claim to be doctors. Please.
I thought it was multiple, so I was close.
I don't think I ever fully knew what I was singing. I was just like, there was an miss for reasons why. I did one of Lacey's hair situations when I perform in the car. But
Yeah, a little backstory on that. We've done a lot of Taylor Swift events with Life by Michael and Perfect Productions. And we would go out early on in this podcast, and I didn't know all the Taylor Swift songs. Do I still know them? No. Do I get the words wrong all the time? Yes. But I'm literally on stage dancing as a 13 podcast host. And they played, was it Better Than Revenge?
I don't remember what specific. It was something from Speak Now, but this was like way before Speak Now, Taylor's version. And like you had said that you were gonna kind of wait until Taylor's version to get to know the songs.
Yeah.
So you are not at
defense.
You're in your defense, like you're not at fault in any way. But yeah, we got on stage and we're like singing along, and Lacey doesn't know the words, and so she just kind of uses her hair to like dance her way out of it.
It was either Better Than Revenge or Picture to Burn. And I'm on stage dancing. It's before other people join. So it's just me and you and a couple of people. And this song came on, and I looked at Anna. Oh, no. I've never heard this song before. So I'm supposed to be singing along. So I would just use my hair.
So clever.
And it's so funny because I'm almost positive that I have that on video. Or like you can see Lacey in the background just like...
You're so crafty.
Well, because I can't be a Taylor Swift expert, quote unquote, and be on stage and not know that song.
Hey,
I just didn't want people to hate on me. But Swifties are nice. Either that or I'm very clever and I covered it up.
It's like no one noticed, but here we are telling
Right.
you.
Confessions.
By the way. But anyway, there was a litany of reasons why we could have played for keeps this time. I know I'm just repeating myself. Playing for keeps, I feel like it's just kind of like, you know, there's so much imagery just in this entire song. When she says I'm just repeating myself, what do you guys think she's referring to? Like, is she repeating herself and saying we should keep trying this relationship, or she's just repeating herself because she's maybe written multiple songs about the same sentiment, or she's repeating herself like about like, I promise he used to love me. I know I'm just repeating myself, like kind of like to her friends, to the listener.
And it's also self-deprecation. Like, that's what people say
yeah.
about her. Like, oh my God, she just writes about the same stuff all the time. So I thought that. But then whenever she talks about pulling the string, I thought of Toy Story with Woody the doll.
Mm-hmm.
And those dolls only say one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, or a multiple, like 3 or 4 things or whatever. It's always the same stuff over and over and over again. So it's just referring to that.
Yeah, that's
also.
very true.
So.
Yeah, what
Very
Amy
clever
said,
writing.
put me back on the shelf, but first pull the string and I'll tell you that he runs because he loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And Fear of the Dark 98 made the exact same conclusion that Amy did. Interesting lyric because Toys in that time only had a couple lines, and she's saying she repeats herself every single time. It's because he loves me over and over.
Excuses.
It gives the implication that she's been conditioned or programmed to think this way about the men in her life, which ties perfectly into the idea of being a toy made by someone else. It's also why I don't think this song is about a particular man in her life, but just accumulation of the guys she's been madly in love with who couldn't or wouldn't commit to her in the same way.
Yeah.
In certain ways, women are programmed to react some ways to heartbreak, like dolls with strings and a perfect response. And just like Amy said, because Amy's brilliant, smarty pants over there, I think that's why people really dislike Taylor when she speaks out about her exes in songs, because she's not following the rules. She's speaking out and saying, I had flaws, but I'm not the only one who fucked up. And I'm calling him out on his stuff.
Yeah.
So,
that's a great point.
So in a way, she kind of breaks the pageant rule, I guess, where everything's just perfect, everything's fine. I'm not going to talk bad about my ex. She does it by not revealing their name, but still describes stuff that she's gone through, which puts them on blast, but I wouldn't have to put you on blast if it wasn't for your bad behavior.
Right. It also kind of reminds me of, if you were to put it in the context of, like, I know I'm just repeating myself. Like, again, I kind of think, like, if you're venting to your friend about this on and off situation, or this, this boy or this person that just keeps, like, breaking your heart over and over again, you keep running back and all this stuff. I know I'm just repeating myself. And eventually, as a friend, you're like, enough is enough. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you do have that friend that keeps running back to a toxic person, and it's like, if you're going to keep going back to them, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of Hits Different. She says, I slurred your name till someone put me in a car. I stopped receiving invitations. It's that same sentiment of, like, I keep crying about this, like, same person, and my friends are sick of it. I feel like that kind of could tie in as well.
And also, pull the string refers to excuses from all the years of someone seeming to lack enthusiasm. I'm the best thing at this party, interest, wanting marriage, etc., and wasting her time. 'Cause you should have seen him when he first saw me.
My boy only breaks his favorite. This is so catchy. So
She goes through Queen of Sand Castles, he destroys. 'Cause I knew too much. There was danger in the heat of my touch.
ooh,
He saw forever, so he smashed it up.
yeah.
Couldn't handle it. He's having a tantrum. He just throws that all away.
It kind of, again, also brings me back to, like, because I knew too much, there was danger in the heat of my touch. Is that kind of like, okay, we've had this relationship where I know we know a lot about each other, and he thinks that I'm not going to leave, but there is danger in the possibility that I might, which also, like, again, at the beginning of the episode, I said it kind of reminds me of the sentiment of Better Man, which she kind of talks about that too. Like, you thought I would never run. Like, you thought I would never do it. Like, there's a little bit of danger in the heat of my touch. Like, I've gone through breakups before and been fine. Why is this going to be any different? Like, are you really that secure in the fact that I'm not going to leave if I don't think that this is worth it?
Know your worth.
But he saw forever, so he smashed it up.
My boy only breaks his favorite toys. Once I fix me, he's gonna miss me.
That's devastating.
She thinks she's the problem
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. She feels like she isn't good enough, and she has to fix herself. Once I fix me, he's going to miss me. That is such a toxic way to think about your self-worth, and that breaks my heart. Like, that is so like I just want to be like, I just want to shake her and be like, don't think about yourself that way, Once I fix me, he's going to miss me. Like, for someone to make you feel that way, for someone, like, to make you feel like you're not good enough, and even after they leave, after the relationship is over, to think like, okay, well, once I fix myself, like, that's when he's really going to miss me. He's going to want me back. Like, that's still something in the back of your head that you want. That makes me really sad.
And that's why we encourage you to talk to our friends at BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Maybe you toy with these emotions and think that everything's your fault when in fact it's not. Maybe someone's trying to play the blame game with you, and you realize that there's stuff that you're going through, and we would like to encourage you to talk to someone and talk to our friends at BetterHelp, because therapy can be really beneficial. When I was going through my divorce, I started seeking counseling, and I learned things that I had never even thought that I had an issue with, but I had to learn boundaries. I had to learn how to put myself first. I had to learn these things that I didn't realize was important because I hadn't been doing them for so long. And that's a big takeaway that I've taken from therapy. It's always healthy to be able to talk to someone and let them know what you're feeling and voice it off someone. Like we're saying, your friends get sick of hearing it. Maybe you need to hear it from someone else. Maybe you need to talk to a therapist who can help put it in perspective.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TaylorSwiftFan today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TaylorSwiftFan.
Just say when I'd play again. You tell me when you're ready. I will go back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just say when I'd play again.
That's when.
Mm-hmm. He was my best friend down at the Sandlot.
Yeah, I mean, that's just more of the same imagery, right? The childlike toy imagery.
I felt more when we played pretend than with all the Kens, because he took me out of the box. There's so much in those lines. Felt more when we played pretend than with all of the Kens. There is a reference to Hits Different, which someone mentioned earlier. I think it was Amy. Hits Different, which, by the way, I'm going to show my smarty pants here. I don't know if you know this. Hits Different is one of Taylor Swift's favorite bridges of all time. She sung that mashed up with a mega bridge of Death by a Thousand Cuts.
Long live the mega bridge.
But in that song, she says, I used to switch out these Kens. I just ghost, rip off the Band-Aid and skip town like an asshole outlaw. Freedom felt like summer then on the coast. And at the time, whenever this song came out on a Midnight's variant, it was around Barbie time. And we thought maybe this song was going to be a part of the Barbie movie.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't. And I do like the fact that this song could be a rebuttal. But because he took me out of my box, she says he took me out of her box, like he made her feel like he didn't just want her as a collector's item or notch on his belt. He took her out of the box to play with her. But then someone else said, I saw it differently. He took her out because he actually wanted to play her, not keep her on the shelf as this collectible for bragging rights. That's why the other Kens couldn't compare. So what is she saying there? That she's devalued because she's taken out of the box, or she's not valued and that's why she was taken out of the box so she could be played?
Yeah, I mean,
It
maybe
could be both.
Yeah,
She
both.
loves to do the double entendre. Is that a double entendre? Whatever. Double meaning.
Yeah, and I mean, both
Yeah.
make sense in the context of the song. And I thought about it a little bit differently. So I like hearing both those perspectives. But when she says, I felt more when we played pretend than with all these Kens, it kind of made me think of, if the muse for this part of the song was like Maddie Healy, somebody that, like had all of these hypothetical situations, like, oh, he takes the middle finger or the middle ring off my finger and puts it on my ring finger, and they're on children's swings and stuff, like, oh, but, like they're kind of playing pretend, talking about like, when we're together, everything will be perfect, like whatever. And it's like, I felt more when we had this hypothetical love than with all these real life dolls or men or whatever people.
Yeah.
I wish I could unrecall how we almost had it all. Yeah. That's one of the most heartbreaking lines. You talked me under the table, talking rings and talking cradles. I mean, he did have, maybe not just him, maybe multiple people, but had this whole fantasy life for her that she really got love bombed and believed this is my destiny. This is my prophecy. I'm finally getting everything that I want, and it's from a person you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
But it's someone just love bombing her, which is so awful.
Yeah.
I've had to watch out for that myself, just talking to different people casually, but I felt myself at times like, oh, they're asking me a question, and then I'm just, no one ever asked me how I'm doing, and then I'm just sharing too much, and then I realize, oh, they're not saying anything back. I've gotten catfished twice now.
What?
Yeah, I've gotten catfished. Never met up with them, hence the catfish. Kind of can't meet the person who.
Hey, you know what? At least you figured it out though before it was too late.
Yeah, but I felt myself one time, and I'm like, wait, this is a little bit suspicious, going from not asking about me to it's all about me. And then I'm like eager. Oh, you want to know? Here you go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he took me out of my box, stole my tortured heart, which tortured poets department, tortured. This one doesn't feel mockery
No.
like the tortured poets department song
Yeah.
was, but he's now tortured her, stole my tortured heart, left all these broken parts, told me I'm better off.
But
You're
I'm
gonna
not.
be fine.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine. But I'm not. I am not.
Yeah. The
I'm
song is really
not.
sad.
Yeah, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, what a deep song.
I know.
What a deep song. And a bop at the exact same time.
I know. She's so good at that.
A couple of comments from Reddit. Anna, I
Mhm.
think you might can relate to this. Sweetest_con78 said, I saw a meme comparing this to a dog who always destroys his toys. And now it's all I can think about when I listen to it. And I sing it to my dog all the time, as he does indeed break his favorite toys.
That's funny. I have a picture here of my dog Buster. He is the cutest boy in the whole world. He actually doesn't play with toys at all.
Okay.
So he doesn't break them, but he doesn't play with them either. So
Is that a good thing?
take that what you will when it
Yeah.
comes to imagery.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know what? It's actually kind of sad because I buy him really cute toys, like those really cute, like, oh, it's like a little coffee or like a little hot sauce bottle or something, and he just like sniffs it and then that's it.
My dog, I can't give him toys because he'll ingest them. He won't just chew them up and, destroy them. He'll ingest them and it doesn't go well through the digestive tract and out the other end that well.
Oof.
So we just don't buy them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
not good.
Yeah. No.
When my big dog Oliver was a puppy, he had a string hanging out of him from eating a rope, and I didn't know what to do, but I had a vet neighbor who was next door. She's no longer there, but I called her
Because
to
of
come
this?
over. Yeah. And I asked her, I was like, am I just freaking out because I don't want to do it? And she was like, no, actually, I can feel on his belly and see if it's attached to something, or if I'm pulling at it, I can tell by his reaction. But she was able to get it out and it was fine. I just wasn't like, oh, I volunteer as tribute. Let me go grab this. And then afterwards, the person who was living with me offered her sanitizer. This was very much in the pandemic and was like, hey, here's sanitizer. And I was like, she was just in the dog's butt. I think she needs to wash her hands. This is not a case for sanitizer at the time. Sorry for sharing that. Snowstorm Spawn said, we need this to be a single because I need to see a music video with the toy concept and her all made up like a broken doll.
Mm-hmm.
And my lady said, I really hope she'll make a Toy Story music video out of this where toys break and fix their toys and make them break the sandcastles.
Yeah, it is very visual.
Yeah. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, me too. I bet she could do a really, really cool video for this.
What do we think the next video will be? Or we only have one video from
Fortnite.
the Tortured Poets department so far. Are we getting more? Do you think
If-
there's going to be a music video for this at some point?
I don't know if there were to be a music video for another tortured poet song. I would assume it'd be I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, since that's
Yeah.
been the next single. But I don't know. I feel like there's so many. I mean, she's just such a creative and visual person that she could make an absolutely incredible video out of any of the songs. But I would assume I Can Only Do It I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. But I don't know. A music video for But Daddy I Love Him would be really cool too.
Yeah. A couple of TikToks to share real quick. Swiftlore on TikTok thought of this reference from 1989. See what you think about this.
What if he only breaks his favorite toys and she wasn't one of them? And then she broke her own heart because he was too polite to do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Ouch.
Ouch.
So that's from Suburban Legends, and
I
that's
liked
just
that.
well, it makes you think. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't put that together.
Mm-mm,
And
neither.
Bella Garland on TikTok found similarities to another 1989 song.
Did anyone else notice this on Taylor Swift's new album? 'Cause it fits you right. Puzzle pieces in the dead of night. Should've known it was a matter of time. Say it's in the past and drive straight ahead. Thinking that I hate you now 'cause you still don't know what I never said. My boy only breaks his favorite toy. Of sandcastles he destroys. I wish you would come back. Wish I never hung up the phone like I did.
That's so good.
I love how people can put music together because I don't know if y'all know this about me. I'm not musical at all. Not even a little bit. Amy comes from a musical family, but I don't hear notes because, I mean, that is acoustic style, and that's the same thing that she does with the surprise song set.
I wonder if she would ever do that mashup. That was really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do wonder if she like gets on
YouTube?
TikTok or YouTube or something and like looks to see what songs of hers people mash up.
Yeah.
Because she's done it a couple times where she'll do a mashup that like DJ Raj
Yeah.
put together like a year ago or something, you know. And it's like, yeah, sure, yes, there's also the musical component of like notes and stuff, but sometimes I wonder if she just like looks
Me
to
too.
see.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, Bella. Now, before we go, let's check out a couple of voicemails from our listeners. Charlotte from Houston has made a lot of friends at training camp, and she wanted to share her experience.
Hi, 13. I'm Charlotte Kinney. I'm a Swiftie from Houston. I had the opportunity to go to the Chiefs training camp, which is the main reason I called. I'm just sitting there, and there are so many Swifties just walking around with their Go Taylor's Boyfriend sweatshirt, with their How the Kingdom Light Shine, because like the Chiefs fandom is called the Kingdom, apparently, with the Karma's the guy on the Chiefs shirt. I saw one girl who was wearing a Who's Travis Kelce Anyway, You t-shirt, and I was just like surprised because I don't live in Kansas City, and so I didn't think that there'd be that many Swifties here, but I've met so many Swifties and traded bracelets with them because I didn't get a chance to go to the Eras tour. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make French bracelets. I'm going to bring them, and I'm going to see if I can find Swifties in the wild. And I did. I've found so many like mothers and their little girls, and it's just absolutely phenomenal how welcoming Kansas City is and how the Chiefs fandom is to the influx of Swifties. And I think that's really cool. Anyway, love you. Bye.
So, Swifties
Yeah.
doing football things, going to training camp, and being
Amazing.
welcomed and finding other Swifties there. I love the relationship that Swifties are making in Kansas City, and that Kansas City is being so welcoming to people like me who I don't know sports at all, but still being sweet. I don't know. I love that voicemail from Charlotte. Then Kara from Illinois was inspired by Taylor Swift in her career.
Hi, my name is Kara, and I'm calling from Illinois. And I wanted to represent for the Gen Xers who love Taylor Swift and have also been lobsters for a very long time. I'm just about to turn 51, and it's wonderful to have this podcast community to be able to share my love for Taylor and her music with so many different generations of people, both older and younger than me, albeit virtually. But I'm always amazed at how universal her music is and how profoundly affected people are by it. And I just wanted to call to say I just finished listening to the Fortnite episode, and it struck me how much I love sitting around with a bunch of people sharing potential interpretations of poetic intention of literature, just like we used to do in English class in high school when interpreting themes and novels we were reading. And I love that so much that I decided to become a high school English teacher so I could continue to enjoy the excitement of discovering the author's intent behind their symbolism and their themes, like solving puzzles, like buried within their work. And I feel like that's what we're doing with Tortured Poets Department. And I'm so enjoying your episodes and your theories and loving learning from you and comparing them to my own ideas. I just wanted to say thanks for holding a virtual salon for us all to purport our ideas about this work of art. My top 5 Tortured Poets Department songs right now are number 1, The Black Dog, number 2, How Did It End, number 3, LOML, number 4, Who's Afraid of Little O' Me, and 5, The Prophecy. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing. Sending you all love from Illinois. Bye.
Dare I say, Dr. Kara.
I know. I want to know. I'm sure there's a study like, are Swifties smarter than your average person?
Yes, that's actually a fact.
Okay.
No, that's awesome. I've also realized as we do this podcast and even as we get into Torture Poets specifically, how much I really enjoy it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the literary analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm enjoying this very, very much.
It is dangerous talking to a Swiftie, though, because we are too smart for the average person, and I can talk on and on and on about Taylor Swift before it's like, do we really want to get into this? Because I have so much to say. Or a friend comes to visit me and asks me how I'm doing, and 3 hours later, I'm telling him everything that's happened on the Eras Tour and showing him the Eras Tour movie, and it's like, wow. Nothing has to do with me. I'm just talking about Taylor Swift this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone will listen, thank you for listening. Our final voicemail that I want to play from a very sweet listener, Amanda, finally got to see Taylor Swift live and wanted to share her experience.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm from Denmark, and I wanted to tell you guys a little about my concert experience. I've been to 4 concerts now on the European leg of the Eras Tour. I'm 24, and because I'm from Denmark, which is a small country in the north of Europe, Taylor has never, ever, unfortunately, visited. She was supposed to play on the Lover Tour, which was crazy because for people in small countries in Europe, it's like, what the fuck? Sorry, the language. Do Taylor Swift know that my country exists? Well, so I was just waiting for the Eras Tour. The Eras Tour is so cool because you get to experience all the eras, and I was so sad that the debut era was not on the Eras Tour. And then when I went to Hamburg, like night 1, she played Teardrops on my guitar, which is like my favorite song ever, like ever. Like when I was a little girl, and I did not know English, but I just found this video and I loved it so much. I was like, Mommy, I'm going to play guitar. And I started practicing guitar for 10 years. I went back to school and practiced guitar only because I wanted to be like Taylor Swift. And that all happened because of Teardrops on my guitar. And when she played it, I almost passed out. Like I looked at my boyfriend and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no. And I have to hold things just not to, I couldn't understand what's happening. I didn't breathe for a moment, and my friend was like, Amanda, breathe, relax. And I didn't sing the first verse because I was just in shock, like the biggest shock ever. Like Taylor would say, momentary, but also legendary. Thank you for your podcast. I also want to say that it's awesome to listen to. It makes me better, like understanding the Taylor Swift lyrics, because that's English, of course, not my mother tongue, so it's like, it makes me more comfortable in my English. Bye. Love, Amanda.
Oh,
Thank you, Amanda from Denmark. And so happy that song has close emotional ties to you, has changed your life and made you pursue things that you didn't know that you wanted to pursue. And her saying that she couldn't even sing the first verse and her boyfriend had to remind her to breathe. So relatable. Just don't, you're so caught up in the moment. But also really put it into perspective because Taylor hasn't always been out to these other countries and seen them. So, I mean, she's been waiting forever and now is just knocking out those tours. And so happy for you, Amanda. Thank you for listening to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. Be sure to join us next time. We are going to make our predictions for where Taylor Swift is going to be next. And then we're going to be breaking down Down Bad.
Thanks for listening to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. Subscribe for free and leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts.